And here's one of the clear indicators of an entrepreneur. If you're starting a business and you don't think it's possible to do that, then you're not going to make it.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
So, Joseph, for some of our listeners, they are already these corporate jobs. They have they're getting big salaries, but they actually are dreaming to have your life. They are dreaming to let go this well-paid corporate job and actually start their own business where they can have more freedom and they can take control of their life. So, in your experience, how was the transition? Because coming from corporate, even in the previous interview, the guest was sharing that somebody with a really, really high position in corporate have over $1 million in the 90s in the bank accounts, which used to be a lot of money back then. And it went from corporate to business and took her 20 years to get around what it means to become an entrepreneur and to start and grow the business, because there are differences. When you have a corporate job, like you have been VP of sales of corporate America, so you are very good at one thing and they do pay you a lot of money and make you really comfortable that you specialize in this. But now when you dropping off this and now you started your own business, now you have to learn about a lot of different things that you didn't know. And now you need to start to do things that you don't like. Because when you have your corporate job, your VP is sales, I presume you love sales. So you're doing something that you love and you specialize and you're really good at it. And you make a good living out of this. But now you're in business. The whole dynamic changed completely. So what is the transition? What advice do you have for people listening to us that they are already in corporate America, that they're dreaming to have your life, but still they don't find the last push to go for it?
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, my walk in my life, Harry, has been that. I had a very successful 28-year career up to a vice president of sales, and I resigned from that to walk away and do what I do today.
Why? You're
because
so
I wanted that freedom, because I had the entrepreneur spirit.
You don't need to worry about anybody. Why you do that?
Because I felt trapped in there by the great salary and the benefits and the cars and
it's like a golden cage.
It's like a golden cage. It is. And for some people that works, and that's great. But I wanted more than that. I wanted to develop. I wanted to create. I wanted to help people the way I get to help people today. So I resigned from corporate America. Once we got that business back into profitability, I resigned.
You resigned because usually what happens is that people get laid off. They go to redundancy, and then they say, well, because now I don't have, that's how they started the business. But you actually resigned?
I resigned from it.
Did anyone tell you around your friends that maybe you're a little bit crazy, that you're taking
Oh my God. I actually lost some lifelong friends because they said, you're crazy, man. You got it. You're there. You've arrived. Why would you want to walk
the American dream
and start something from scratch? But it was following my heart. One of the really admiring aspects of an entrepreneur is they have a draw that comes from their heart and soul on wanting to do more, wanting to have a bigger impact, wanting to create whatever it may be that leads to it. And so when I walked off of corporate America, I actually moved from I was in Iowa at the time. I moved down to South Carolina near the mountains where
you burned the boats. You burned everything. You moved down.
I did. And I didn't
even. It. Oh my God.
I didn't know anybody down here. And so I had to go about and start figuring out how to build this business that I do. And it looks different today than it started as. But within a year and a half, I was at the same salary level I was at. I was at the same revenue number I was at when I was in corporate America.
That's very impressive.
And
only in a year and a half. That's very impressive.
And when people come to me, thank you, in corporate America, it's all a blessing. When people come to me from corporate America and they want to do their own thing, what I tell them is we're going to get the clarity. We're going to step into it. Everything I've talked about with the 5 steps. But then what we're going to do is we're going to get so busy building and growing the business that you no longer have time to go to the job. And Harry, I have helped clients. One client I had that was working full time in sales. He had a business he was doing on the side, making a couple grand a month on. I'm here to talk, but what I told him is we're going to get so busy in your business, you're not going to have time to go to work anymore. So he went from doing a couple $1,000s a month in this business a little over a year later, he was doing like $25,000 to $30,000 a month.
I believe you.
Now, 2 years later, he's doing between $47,000 and $57,000 a week in revenue.
I believe you.
Look, person that's been through things like
that. Just makes sense, because when you think back, you are a VP of sales, and if you think it effectively, you might be thinking, why I should be selling other people's products? I better sell my product and keep all the money for me.
But what happens is it's easier to do that in some ways.
Yes.
You're trapped in that. You don't get to fully live like you do being an entrepreneur. There's parts of you that start dying inside.
Sometimes just because I think as entrepreneurs, there is within ourselves, there is a gene. It's not, it doesn't come from hereditary or something like this, inheritance. But we always have this gene within ourselves that we say we can do better. When I have a chance, I'm walking away from this. However, all the people are going to business from corporate America with the wrong reasons. They are only listening the good things about being in business, which is you can have as much money that you want, and there is no cap in the money that you can make, and you have the freedom. However, they go into business, probably they're used to have a lot of an employee, they have a management position or VP like your position. And then they come in with this mindset from corporate, which is not my job. I just work on this. And there is no such a thing when you are an entrepreneur that this is not my job. Everything is your job. So the change in cultures coming from corporate to have your own startup business, where you actually need to wear the hats and figure out exactly like you did from scratch, from zero in a new city, and you need to start to think about this business, to design your product. Like out of the 500 millionaires that we interview in this broadcast, nobody, the product that they created was actually what the product the client bought. You have to iterate and iterate until it works. There's a lot of trial and error going there. So what do you think? What was the biggest challenge from you in your mindset that you brought from corporate America that you have to look into yourself deep and say, okay, I have to make an improvement in the way that I see things, because I'm in completely different ball game. I'm starting from zero, and this is completely different what I'm used to.
Yeah, there was a lot of shifts. Honestly, just to to resign from the position I had in corporate
America, a lot of courage.
Well, and it took a lot of
people listening. A lot of people listening at the moment. They're the only thing they are thinking, wow, I wish that I have this courage to bend the boats and do it.
Yeah,
unfortunately, Unfortunately,
there was a lot of fear.
The majority don't do it. Why? What's the biggest fear?
The fear is, you're going from something that I've been at multiple facilities, companies in corporate where I was a vice president and did really well, to stepping out and not having done this before.
But people said that might be safety. But if you check, there is no. Yeah, but there is no such a thing as safe when you have a job. Safety is create your own job. Yeah,
that's what I was going to finish. Yes, there's a perception of safety within corporate positions, but there's not really, because you have a bad quarter and they'll start dropping people. They sell the company. Whatever can happen. When you build your own company, then you truly have control over your destiny. You don't have that when you work in corporate. That was another draw to me. But when I moved down here and got going with it, you talked about that you got to wear all the hats. And I'll tell you, one of the scenarios I use that is perfect for this. When I was in corporate America, if I had to be in the office for 2 days in a row after 5 o'clock, man, I was ticked off. I felt cheated. I felt taken advantage of. I was angry. I was this, I was that, everything else, which happens quite often as a VP. Now, I'll come over here and I'll do my client sessions, things like that. I'll talk to people. I'll talk to some new things.
Spend the whole day because you love it, right?
Well, and then at 8, 9 o'clock at night, I'll go over to the other room here and I'll do videoing and I'll do things like that and stuff. And I'll get done at 2, 3 in the morning and I can't sleep because I'm so excited about what I do. That's a huge connection because, yeah, you got to wear hats. One of the things I'll say about that is to start your business, you have to wear multiple hats because you can't just hire anybody right off the shoot and things like that. But the quicker scale, the quicker you can hire people in those positions.
Yeah, and the secret of scaling, Joseph, what I noticed is only one thing: increase your sales. Because when my business, I increase my sales, the magic happened. You know what happened in my business when I increased my sales? I could hire people that they were better than me at everything. To the point one day I arrived to the office and they told me, Harry, go home. We don't need you anymore. We can run this business without you. So the people that joined my organization, they were so good that they actually, and I developed that culture, they had the ability to actually run the business and grow the business, and everything was running in autopilot. Now, this was only possible when I increased my sales. So, Joseph,
Absolutely.
What message do you have out there for entrepreneurs that they're not taking sales seriously and they thinking, well, I have other things that I need to worry about in my business, especially when we talk product market fit 0 to 1 million. And also, you hear sometimes entrepreneurs out there that they are uncomfortable to selling. They don't want to sell. They want to pay an agency to do the marketing and sales for them. And they are, and then they were not growing, and they want somebody else to do the sales for them. Without knowing that if you don't like sales, if you don't know how to sell, if you cannot be in business, and that's the end of it, right?
Every business owner I work with does sales for their organization, and here's why. Because, a lot of times it'll be salespeople that'll start a business and they know that end of it. But there's other people that come out of financial or other areas and stuff that haven't been in sales and they don't like doing sales. They call it a 5,000-pound phone, all that stuff and everything. And I have them still do sales because even when you're hiring,
they need to understand the basic. Exactly. You need to understand
you don't know
what is going to
they're
take.
facing. If you don't know what they're facing out in the field trying to build your business, how can you be helpful to them? Which means how can you grow your business there? So I have everybody take a part, spend some time in sales, and then we get busy enough to where they can start bringing on salespeople. The gentleman I told you about that went from a couple $1,000s a month to now $57,000 a week. He now has salespeople he brought on and did it and is doing those things. But even for my company, once I started scaling, everybody I hired, like you said that perfect, Harry, because everyone I hired is an expert in the area that they cover, and I'm not.
But if you didn't increase your sales,
right,
how are you going to hire these people?
Yes. And here's one of the things. A lot of people will start business, entrepreneurs, any that wants to start a business and grow up by 15 or 20 or even 25% year over year, go back to corporate. Because you're not going to make it. You got to be setting your sights on doubling, tripling your revenue growth year over year. And one of the clear indicators of an entrepreneur, if you're starting a business and you don't think it's possible to do that, then you're not going to make it.
You're already putting on the space. You're already putting on the space, right?
Yeah, the people that I help to get from that corporate or even put somebody in business that's struggling is used as a judgment tool. There is person believe it's possible to X 5X whatever their business. If they don't believe it, they're never ever ever going to achieve it. And if you're not going up as an entrepreneur, then you're going to be going down.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.